really helpful way in which to see that it's not just me and my little world in my head with me and my big problems or whatever, frustrations of life. I could do that span back, that zoom out view and say, like, this is by design. And I can do it a different way.
When you can remove yourself, and you chose to do that, and not completely, but you shifted.
Yeah.
And you got a different view.
Yeah.
And that's about life. We're here for different perspectives, as many possible as we can.
The other critical thing is you can't do it by yourself. Like this whole individual mindset, which is so capitalistic in nature. Like, it's not about me and my glory and my fame.
No.
It's not about me at all. Like, this work is relational and earth-based and wisdom coming through and with.
Welcome, Annie Bird. Welcome to Reignite with Reet, our podcast, and launching this massive experience here. And having you on is just such a joy. I've admired this woman from the day one I met her. It's like, you know, when someone is such a big energy and you're also a big energy, but you meet your match and it's intimidating because they have a presence. And it's the best kind. It's the kind that you know is going to grow you. And that's what you were for me. And Annie comes from a huge background of working in the State Department in Washington, in philanthropy.
Both, yeah.
Philanthropy, policy.
Yeah.
I'm going to let her get into that and share a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just wanted her to know that we've been friends just shy of 2 years. And I'm so grateful that you're here today and you're open to being on the other side of the chair. She's been many times the interviewer and allowing me to, you know, hold space and also share and hold her vulnerability. So welcome, Annie.
Thank you, Reet. Thank you for having me. And back at you. When I was coming down here, I just remembered our first time meeting, and I remember you in a yellow bathing suit at Lani Kai. And I was like, this is going to be my friend. And it's cool that to just see and witness our friendship develop. And it's really exciting to see you take on this role.
And both our growth. Like, from that time, there was a lot of uncertainty. We both landed on this island and we're feeling in this space. Mm-hmm. We were like in a void. Right? We were leaving one world, but not yet settled into another.
Yes.
And I think that's what connected us.
Yes.
And there was a lot of unrest. There was a lot of expectations. Also, there was a bit of force trying to feel like we need to fit in somewhere for our children.
Right.
We needed to create something. And I think since then, we've shed a lot of that. And we've come into our own selves. We've come into also knowing that it's okay. We're not meant to be in all the spaces. Yeah. And it's no harm or no ill will to anybody. It's really feeling grounded and comfortable in our own skin to be ourselves.
Right. So, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, please, let's pull back a little bit. And if you can start by sharing where Annie Bird started. Well, yes, you were birthed, but share a little bit of your history.
Back? Yes.
Yeah, a little bit of where you came from, your journey, your education, and then working in the State Department.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you again. So I'm from LA, born to a single mother. Yeah. I mean, I know this story well, and it's so interesting to reflect on my own story at different points in my life and see what's coming through or what feels most true. And so I appreciate the opportunity to just think about it. But I think one thing is clear is that I understood difference because I experienced difference at quite a young age. And when we talk about what I like to say is the red thread throughout my life. Like there is a red thread that I've been following since birth, pre-birth. Like, I don't know about you, but learning all about the ancestral work and the generational kind of impacts of why I am the way I am and how I came to be and why I'm here now. It's just fascinating to see, to really follow that thread. But to not go back into thousands of years, we'll stick in this one body, this one lifetime.
There'll be future podcasts.
Yes, yes. Very much, I think there's such fascinating, deep work in that area. But I think being in California, being in a place that is diverse in terms of economics and race and gender expression and religion and all of those things was really important. And then I was able, like I really dove deep into that as a young person, as a teenager, into the social justice work and the anti-racist work. And that was such a doorway into really the next 20 years of work in that space, which started, more like local, like in Los Angeles. But then when I was able to go and see this work outside the country, I, again, these like lucky opportunities to go outside to, it was the United Nations in Geneva, and I was very young. I was like a tender 20 or 18 even, and started learning about international human rights abuses and seeing the kind of violence that was happening globally. And it's just like, I saw what was happening in my own communities with racism, and then saw this on the global stage, and it was like, what the, what's happening? And so that really took me down a path of working in that for the next 20 years. So, I was at community college, transferred to UC Berkeley, beautiful professors, gorgeous people that really helped facilitate my path. Moved to New York, worked in transitional justice, which is about people and societies that have experienced mass violence and how do you transition from that. And that took me down a road, working for the UN, eventually going back to school, doing a master's in human rights law in the UK, and then a PhD in international relations in the UK, specifically on transitional justice. And so that work, again, it's all, for folks that are maybe not familiar with that term, which most are not, don't feel bad. It's international human rights work. It's really just that kind of work. And what the moment I think the field was in at that moment, because this is now early 2000s, so we're coming out of, the field was born from the violence in South Africa, the violence in Bosnia, the violence in Rwanda. So there was this burgeoning movement towards the never agains, right? Which came from the Latin America abuses in the 80s, which stemmed from, World War II and the abuses. So anyways, this is a field, a growing, I can go deep into the history of this field, but like the moment I was in was this moment of, wait a minute, we actually have to respond. It's not okay. This kind of violence is not okay. And people need to be brought to account, either criminal prosecutions, or they need to have space to speak the truth, or there needs to be reparations for this harm, or there needs to be institutional reforms. So that was a really exciting place to be as a young person doing that work through NGOs in the UN and then through academia. And then I felt this sense of, because I was born into this country, this sense of like curiosity, interest, and responsibility about serving as an American. And I was very curious about our government and my role as an American in this work. And of course, the massive contradictions and hypocrisies that anyone lives with as an American, probably in any country, but definitely in this one. That brought me to the State Department after the academic work. What was really exciting in terms of the fields movement was, this is, Obama's second, I entered in Obama's second administration. And what was great about this moment was, again, this move from, in terms of the work of the field, was looking backwards towards violence to looking ahead at prevention, atrocities prevention. So actually, we don't have to just respond after the fact. We can actually see the signs of this type of violence in places, and we can do something about it. And the US government and American people are saying, yes, it's actually, not only can we do something, but it's in our national interest and our responsibility to do something to get ahead of this type of violence. So that was, just in terms of my own thread, felt very meaningful to move from after the fact to before this type of violence and being a part of that change. And so that, I was in this bureau called Conflict and Stabilization Operations, which I got an email I mentioned to you yesterday that said the bureau is now closing under Trump because the State Department is reorganizing and removing a lot of this work. But that's, again, another topic.
But they're removing human rights work.
This particular bureau is that does all the conflict prevention. Not all. It's getting dismantled. Anyhow, different story. When I was there, I was leading atrocities prevention work for the department. And so doing the work across, working with all of the different agencies of government, coming up with the State Department's plan for our work all over the globe, teaching that work to our foreign service officers outside in the countries that were experiencing this type of violence, coming up with the atrocity assessment framework of analyzing this type of violence. I mean, it was incredible, fascinating work, and hard, and again, full of contradiction. So, yeah. Then I had a baby, and then Trump came into office, and there was just that feeling inside, even though I had really hustled to be in that role, there was, again, that inner call of, like, I think it's time for a shift. And so with a lot of fear, like all of the shifts in my life have come with, started, again, the door open to leave government and to move into philanthropy, into a foundation called Wellspring Philanthropic Fund, which is a huge social justice progressive funder. And I did that with the hope that I would be able to be a part of creative solutions to atrocities, as opposed to trying to push the US government into doing the right thing. So it was like, again, the same work, but from a different lens, which is how a lot of how I've rationalized in my own mind, a lot of the work has always been around human rights, but coming from different lenses, either from the NGO space or the UN space or the academic space, the government space, and then this private funder philanthropy space. And so that was a whole new experience, like totally different, much more aligned with my values in terms of the social justice values. And again, and just fascinating because this organization was working on domestic issues in the US and had programs doing international work. Again, human rights or social justice. So really, really cool work. And then a totally different, tool in the toolbox of how to approach atrocities prevention. So I won't get into like the how the funding and how that, but that was fascinating. Yeah. So that's kind of the outline of that phase. And now, I'll pause for the Hawaii version, the shift that happened after that. But that was kind of the trajectory that got me through the 20s and 30s decades of my life.
But you felt called there, right? Knowing you now,
yeah,
I feel it was a mutual, fluid. I feel if there was a woman for that role, it was you. If I can be so, bold enough to state that, having gotten to know you, and like you stated, you came from a single mom in LA. You saw atrocities in your own neighborhood, I'm sure, in our own, and it usually starts with the feeling of being born into something unjust. As a East Indian woman, similarly, I had that. That's why I have this desire to have women's voices lifted. Because though it's changing slowly, not fast enough for my liking,
Right.
in my culture, women don't have a voice. You are there to serve the husband, and you're there to have the children and raise them. But anything further than that, we are coming, but there's women like myself and many others that are breaking that mold. But there's millions of women that may never get that opportunity.
Right.
Right? So as a duty, I feel my calling to give as many women a voice so they may reach and land somewhere. And I think similarly, you felt a calling towards that at that phase in your life to lead you to where you are now.
Yeah.
To give back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love your shift towards the focus on women, because that was a bit of a blind spot for me, which was a blind spot. It's not anymore. And I think that is a really nice transition point for our conversation, Reet, because as we have discussed outside of this space, I have in recent years really devoted my kind of personal growth, not related to my work that I just described, but have been exposed to this idea of the experience of being a woman in this culture and this time. And, you know, I can talk about the work that I've learned and I've studied and all of that, but I think just to underscore the point, I went through nearly 40 years on this planet without understanding that patriarchy is a system that is impacting me in this white-bodied American, outwardly privileged, exterior. I am still very much affected by this system, as we all are as women, because it is a system that has been around and a structure that has been around for thousands of years. And the fact that I did human rights work for 20 years and really didn't understand that system, and because it's, again, I'll go back to those years in college when I saw the work on women's rights and feminism, it was white feminism that was being taught. And I was like, ooh, there's something doesn't feel right for me. And I steered away from it. But now that I come back to it 20 years later, and there's so many more incredible women that are really making it clear, like really making it clear how damaging these structures are for all of us and for men. Men are just as much. So this is a very important point for me as well, as you know, understanding the systems that we are in and then working to navigate them and support each other in them is so critical. So
critical. And like you mentioned, understanding the systems that we're in.
Yeah.
These were created to conform, program, and essentially dismantle our inner wisdom.
Yeah.
Our innate ability to be community collectively as masculine and feminine. There were roles, and along these decades and the Western culture, they created this and to separate us, to create silos, to create division. And I really feel a huge responsibility to have all the conversations, not just the comfortable ones, but the uncomfortable ones. And thank you for being vulnerable and saying, and being so honest and saying it took 40 years. There's no shame or anything, because when you're in the system, you don't recognize the impact it has on you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You think you're a punch card. You go in, you think you're doing the work. You're helping, you're making a difference, and you are. Absolutely. Then when you can remove yourself, and you chose to do that, and not completely, but you shifted.
Yeah.
And you got a different view.
Yeah.
And that's about life. We're here for different perspectives, as many possible as we can. And when you can look now from outward looking in, now it's a different journey.
Right.
Now, how does that land? Now, you know, you've touched on that, but now you're navigating this.
Yeah.
What's that look like? What's that feel like?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was quite stark. So maybe the best way to talk about this is the story of the work that I just referenced. So I listened to a podcast, power of podcasts. Yeah. I listened to a podcast where there was a teacher called Sarah Wilson talking about this made into mother work, feminine archetypes. And then I read her book, and then I went to her retreat, and then I did her teacher training. And I don't usually say yes to that many things in a row. It was a clear, the work resonated, right? And we don't know, as we've spoken about, there's so many incredible things out there now that are supportive of our growth and exploration. But this particular work, at the particular moment that it found me, was very powerful and has remained powerful for me and has guided, I think, undergirded a lot of the decisions I made to change and shift course. And
you took this while you were still working?
I was still, So I was still working, in philanthropy at Wellspring So I was still working. And how can I describe the work? Again, I want to be thoughtful about how to introduce it in a way that resonates. Yeah. I mean, I think...
What was it for you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's the most powerful. So Sarah talks about the triple mother wound, how women today don't know how to mother themselves, didn't have mothers or don't have mothers, healthy mothers, and then therefore, and aren't able to mother the world and the community. And then gave some really helpful language about how women, we are trained to be pretty, pleasing, polite, quiet, submissive, et cetera, et cetera. You know, this back to patriarchy, learning about these systems in which we fit ourselves. And it was so eye-opening to me because I think what capitalism, patriarchy, and white supremacy, those are the three structures that I see and many see as running the show, in terms of, it's running a show. Yeah. And it's but we can change the program, right? We can change that channel. But if we don't know that we're in that program, you're just swimming in it because that's what's everywhere. It's the food you eat. It's it's just, we're so immersed in it. So I think that just the way in which she was and she used humor and lightness, and she normalizes rage and grief and just the full range. How could we not be all raging out at these systems and these things that are happening? So there was all of that, which was just these full body yeses. And then there was just this really helpful way in which to see that it's not just me and my little world in my head with me and my big problems or whatever, frustrations of life, but no, and it's not oh, my mom is the problem. She's, because she had her story. It's I could see it. I could do that span back, that zoom out view and say, this is by design. And I can do it a different way. And it was just so helpful. And again, the other critical thing is, like, you can't do it by yourself. Like, this whole individual mindset, which is so capitalistic in nature, like, it's not about me and my glory and my fame.
No.
It's not about me at all. Like, this work is relational and earth-based and wisdom coming through and with. It's not about me and my individual I thing.
Yeah.
It's not about me. Like,
it comes through you.
It's come through. I like it. And again, but it's like I won't be able to do any sort of anything I care about for myself, my family, for the world, if I'm sitting here in an isolated bubble, thinking I can kind of muscle through. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, I don't know if that was particularly coherent, but
it was, absolutely.
It was, yeah, that just like, I think the main thing that happened was at that retreat, there was a woman from Hawaii, and her presence all the way in Vermont, east coast of the United States, just the fact that she was there, shout out to her, she lives on Maui, she triggered this part of my story, which is in Hawaii. And like, being on the East Coast all of those years, I mean, again, I was from West Coast, but did the whole East Coast UK, like, that way thing. Like, I had already been having this longing of, like, DC, like, I had felt that I had a second baby by then, and it was just like, I don't feel like this is the right place. That kind of, like, we were looking around, my husband and I looking, where, and then seeing her at this retreat, I was like, Hawaii, those moments where you're like, ugh. And I mean, it, again, for someone that's very, very deeply rooted in her career and in systems and in change making and in all of it, to even speak about doing something a different way, it felt very radical. It felt very huge. But the doors opened, like, one after the other. The doors opened, and we got here. We got here, yeah, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, yeah.
I think there's just a trusting in that.
Yeah.
I think listening to your journey, there was a trusting that you innately knew. Mm. There was a calling, that red thread, as you speak. Mm. I love that. Like, yeah. We all have that red thread. Yeah. But it's when the patriarchy and the society and the programming gets us to kind of snip it away. Yeah. It's like we
crushes it. Yeah. Or snips at it.
and we get further away from it because the distractions are there, the expectations, all of it. Yeah. Right? The worldly, the bigness that we need to be in the eye. Yeah. We get away from community, our villages, our families. Yeah. Whatever that may look like, because I've had different families. Yeah. Different seasons of my life. Not always been blood. Most of the time hasn't. But where did I thrive? When I look at that thread, every time I did that giant leap, it was with community and family. Mm. Where did I stagnate and stray from that thread, and it was necessary to explore, to come back, was when I tried to do it on my own. Mm. When I had something to prove, and I just wanted to go rogue for a little bit, a little unhinged, and I think that's necessary.
Totally.
Right? For all of us. And I think for women, we're called all these names. We're midlife crisis, unhinged, we're crazy. If only, not if only, it is happening right here, right now, in this time and space. Yeah. We are sharing that is not unhinged, that's an awakening. Yes. So rich and so deep, coming back, owning ourselves, our time in this time and space, in age, and the wisdom that we carry in our bones and in ourselves, then it's not about the I. It becomes about all the ancestors and the women that came before us. It comes through us, so it can be birthed so that we may serve everybody and the future and change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That to me, when I speak, I soften and I also breathe deeply.
Right.
And richly. And I know there's a presence in me that was meant to, and that was placed there.
Right.
And you can connect and it's quieter. Everything got quieter in my voice as I speak in this.
Yeah.
In this, on this topic.
Yeah.
There's not anxiety or unrest. It feels at home that this is meant to be aligned. And the women that are here sharing journeys, and this work is sacred work that you're doing, Annie, that we're doing. And it can be so much more enriching when we have our village and our sisters and our community.
Yes.
So I want to continue talking about the maiden to mother journey because it's fascinating. I'd never heard about it until you. I think indirectly, yes, there's this coming that you call different names, right?
Yeah.
A journey back to ourselves.
Right.
But elaborate a little bit more on this, on the different archetypes and the maiden to mother for somebody that's green and is very new.
Yes. So Marion Woodman was a Jungian psychologist who came up with these feminine archetypes. Again, there are different people that will claim this work. And so it's like even just talking about, again, because I was an academic for a time, still am, there's a part of me that like it's very important to name. I'll say that in this work that I was trained in, I learned about it through 4 phases. So the maiden, the mother, the empress, and the crone. And so like just in brief, you know, there are healthy versions of these archetypes, these models, these phases of life, and there are unhealthy, wounded versions. And we have all of those. And also, just because we're in maiden doesn't mean we're not dipping into mother with an eye to crone or a little bit, you know. So again, I'm going to speak about it in a linear way, but it's not linear.
No, life isn't.
At all.
It's constantly evolving, spiraling.
Yes. The healthy maiden is the young woman. She is curious. She is excited. She is trying on different ways of being. She is open. She is, you know, fresh.
Yeah.
If you align it to the seasons, which we did in that training, she's the spring, right? She's blossoming. She's, you know, the bud, right?
Yeah.
If it's the phases of the moon, she's that new moon, right? I mean, there's such beautiful language for this work. It's just gorgeous. If we move into the mother, we're moving into summer. We're coming into full bloom. We are our full selves. We are holding ourselves, the space, the room, the energy with grace, with love, with nurturing, with compassion. We are taking care of ourselves. We are taking care of our families. We are taking care of the world. We're not doing it in the, you know, crush it, work too hard, you know, feel the martyrdom version.
Right.
But of course, that would be the wounded mother or the death mother energy, which there are many. We can give examples of that death mother. She is alive and well, the one that's like angry and destructive, right? That would be like the unhealthy or the wounded mother. The wounded maiden, shifting back, the wounded maiden, you know, is, she is, again, it'll show up differently for all of us, but as we were talking about earlier, she is pleasing, she is quiet, she is submissive, she is pretty on the outside. She is, not that you can't be pretty. You can be pretty. It's beautiful.
Yeah. You can be all of it.
You can be all of it. But like, you know, or it's being pretty for, you know.
Recognition, not for yourself.
Yeah, yes. So there's that, like, again, it's that the dark side and the light, right? With the maiden, with the mother, and the empress. Again, that's kind of, so we're moving into fall, the fall of our lives. Some attach it with like once you're in perimenopause, you're kind of going through those like it's very like linked with where your body is at also. I think that would be another thing to really talk about, is the menstrual cycle awareness is so beautiful with this. But okay, so the fall, you are, you're like see the body language of just like you're sitting a little bit straighter, you're a little more discerning, like maybe not as much giving as the mother, but a little more of the holding the space. Like
this is the
you're the empress, your energy, you've got less energy, right? Yeah. Like I can feel already I'm moving in, I've got an eye towards empress. That's what friends and I were talking about, is like once you're in this, I don't want to say ages, but like the empress is, it's not easy to move into empress, because guess what? I can't do all the things in empress.
You have to slow down.
You have to slow
intentional.
down. Yeah. Yes.
Intentional.
Much more so. So that's the empress. And then the crone again is such a beautiful phase. I love talking about the crone. I love describing her as, she is just dripping with truth and wisdom. Everything that comes from her mouth is the truth. She doesn't, there's no time to mess around with anything but that, right? She's wrinkly and gray and beautiful. She is wise. And there's so much discussion. I was reading something in The Cosmic Mother, which is a great book. Was it that, or which book was it? Maybe Women Who Run with the Wolves, but like in the past, like grandmothers were celebrated and they were elevated and they were really seen as playing such a critical role in our communities.
The wisdom holders.
The wisdom holders, yeah. And I love that our culture is starting to shift. It was fun. Again, another podcast I was listening to had someone as kind of like Hollywood, Elaine from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is doing a podcast for women over 70, which I haven't listened to at all, but I was like, yes, this is like, we need more of that celebration of women who have lived, right? Like not
versus telling us in our 40s and 50s that we're washed up. Right,
that it's over. Like, no, again, in this feminine archetypal work, they say life hasn't even begun until 40.
Yeah.
Like we are just, I'm 43. I have just arrived, like that was just the beginning. I don't know what, those first 40 years. I don't know what. I mean, no, it was beautiful. And it's not putting it down. It's like, I am so proud of my first 4 years. Yeah. I'm like, it's like, there's so much love for my maiden.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much love. But now it's like this whole other, and again, we come at these crossroads with these rites of passage. We need support to enter them and we need relationship and community. We don't do this alone. Recognition, acknowledgement of like, look at what you've done. Look at those achievements, and now look what you are coming into. Yeah. And here, we, your sisters, we, your mothers, we, your tribe, are here to hold you as you move through into this new phase where it comes with different responsibilities and different, but like, it's like these crossroads. Are you gonna keep going? Am I gonna spend, again, no shame on Botox, but like, am I gonna spend the next 40 years getting Botox and spending my money that way? Or am I gonna be okay having the wrinkly skin? And again, this is just, these are really the low blows, because it's just the easiest in our culture to say like, how do we stay young? How do I keep my face tight? How do I like this is just, it's kind of the easiest low-hanging fruit, and then there's no shame off any of it.
No.
But it's just one of those things where it's
feel like...
But the culture celebrates this and tells women this, and like, let's adjust everything and keep it. There's a lot of push into this kind of thing. So again, it's not all about looks, but we get a lot about our looks as women.
We've been programmed
for most of our lives, right? So it's like, it's a big part of the work is this
Shifting.
real, like, how am I moving through the world in this body, and how can I embrace and be okay? Guess what? At this phase of life, you're supposed to get a tummy because there's estrogen that's protecting you. I mean, like, it's our bodies are magical and beautiful, and we are just so disconnected from them.
Yeah.
We're so disconnected. Like, I can move through these phases more gracefully if I can love and be in this body that I was lucky enough to be born into.
And like, on a real note, like, it's all real. I have felt that myself. Just to use as an example, I have, as having a baby and thinking that bounce back culture and trying to fit something that wasn't attainable. It's like that, like, it's kept getting lifted.
It's never enough.
And never enough until I came back and said, I am enough.
Yes.
Until I said, in this season of my life, my body wants to be and hold me like this.
Yes.
There's a reason for this. It's protecting and loving me, softening me, so I can release the resistance and the fighting of myself to fit into a mold I was never meant to fit into.
No.
We never meant to fit into a mold. We are not one-dimensional beings. And to continue that path, you're continuously having resistance. You're going to continuously you may be able to get to a certain point, but you're going to hit a wall.
Yeah.
And until you start going inward, you're going to only seek external validation. You're going to look for the answers outside of yourself.
Yes.
And that's a very common red thread in a lot of these conversations in my podcast episodes, that we come back at that point in this awakening, or I call it reigniting of ourselves. That red thread, now we're taking the needle. And we're okay with where that goes, as opposed to just holding on or letting somebody else sew us into whatever tapestry.
Oh my goodness.
Right? Now, in this mother to empress season, we are starting to come in and weave and sew with the collective, with the universe, and what's coming through us. And we're questioning, we're challenging the conversations and society and the structures that have been put in place.
Yeah.
To dismantle them and say, hey, this is not in alignment.
Yeah.
This is not in service of me or my daughter, for the future generations, for your sons.
Yeah.
It's not serving us anymore. And this is the work. When people say, do the fucking work, excuse me, but this is the work. Every single day starts with you. And it's not necessarily all about you, but you are a piece of that red thread in this whole tapestry that wouldn't be this beautiful piece without your red thread.
Right. Yes.
So I honor you, Annie. I honor the work you have done that's brought you to here, the curiosity that led you to discover this next chapter, this work that you are honoring and serving us.
Yes.
It has to be celebrated.
Yes.
If anything, I've realized in this season, every single milestone, we must celebrate. We must come in community and grieve. We must come in community and hold space for death and rebirth in the same breath. Because it's constantly happening. It's not like, okay, here's a space for death and here's a space. It's literally happening at the same time.
Yes.
It's that cocoon I'm right now. The discomfort of morphing this podcast.
Yeah.
It's not about me. It's about the message that comes through you and I.
Yeah.
That may land on the ears that need to hear it.
Yeah.
And letting go of the reins, and also letting go a little bit of that red thread and saying, universe, serve and use me. Surprise me. And being in awe of wonder. Because aren't we as babies like fresh-eyed, bushy-tailed, like so curious and hungry, and
Yes.
then we get to do that in this phase too.
Yes.
And giving ourselves permission to do it, and allowing the eyes to open, widen, and feel like we've literally had rose-colored glasses taken off of us, and now we're seeing for the first time. That's what it feels like lately. I go for walks and I feel the sand never felt so soft and so rich. The ocean never looked so rich and clear and crystal, because there's also, on the same breath, a programming coming that everything is dying and polluting. And yes, I will acknowledge and aware of that, but I will not let it kill what's being birthed at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot collectively awakening. Women, men wanting to challenge, men coming into their femininity, and women that have been so richly in our masculine now being allowed, and not even necessarily allowed, us discovering that, wow, we've been in balance.
Yes. It's like the balancing, like we in patriarchy, we have been so skewed where certain qualities have been so privileged. Now that I am aware of it, I see this real shift taking place. And I think we are at the beginning of that. I do see that there are these signs, like this podcast included, of like there are efforts and real energy around shifting and rebalancing the masculine and the feminine to get to a healthier place. And all of us that see that need to be a part of it. There is a responsibility to that work. We need to show up.
Yeah.
And
it's not one person. Like, it's not meant to be a weight on your shoulders. It's supposed to be the weight lifted off to your shoulders so you may show up as yourself.
Yeah.
And space be held for you.
So what's been cool to see in my process over the last 2 years, again, following the red thread, but then also what's emerging, as we've talked about, but like what's come through are these two, I feel like there should be a better word than businesses. What's a better word than businesses? Ideas, creations, birthings. There are two
worlds.
There are two births happening inside of me right now. There are twin babies,
Love it.
twins. Let's go with that analogy. So the two are like, and they're happening exactly at the same time. It's so interesting how it works. Like, so one is called Red Thread Lab, because you've heard, I've been so drawn to that symbolism. So
love it.
Yes, right?
It resonated.
Doesn't it feel like it's so like you find, anyway, I love it too. So I named the one Red Thread Lab, and that's the one where it's like, how can I be a part of supporting human beings, organizations to nurture and find their own red thread. So that could be still with the communities of which I know very well, the human rights community, the global peace and security community, the social justice community. Those people are working their asses off, and they are incredible, and they are deserving and need so much support. I did an incredible project last year, still working on it, for MacArthur Foundation on women leaders in peace and security. And I just feel like I have to give a nod to these women, because it, again, back to women who are leading incredibly important work. And what I interviewed 30 of them, in-depth interviews, and like I learned so much from them.
What areas? Women from where?
Who run peace and security organizations.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's all about their experiences and their challenges. And that report will come out later this year. It's very exciting. So this Red Thread Lab is dedicated to the people doing incredible work that need support through either strategy, consulting, or executive coaching, or leadership circles and retreats. So that's that idea. I'm very excited about it. And so that's what I'm hoping to do, is like my offering to the field of, after being in it, how can I support it in this new way?
I love that.
And supporting, right? So that's, thank you. Yes.
It's necessary. And you know, there's not enough coaches. As much as you see out there, there is so many areas being untouched, and there's a calling. an awakening, and if you have a gift and you haven't had experience in an industry, there's something there you can offer.
Right.
Whether it's in time, whether it's in wisdom, where it's space, there's something you can offer.
Yes. And that's where I feel like I can bring, the old world and the new world together of like being like, I know what they are going through. I know this space deeply. And so how can I continue to show up for the issues I care so deeply about and the human beings I care so deeply about, seeing myself in them, So that's that idea that is underway. And then the second, which you experienced, was Moonbird Collective, which happened at the same time. It's like, and that is really the rites of passage work for women in midlife that are moving from maiden to mother and going through the phases. And
you're going into your moon era.
Yes.
I'm Vedic astrology, and I love that side of me. In Vedic astrology, we are born into our sun sign. So for an example, I'm a Sagittarius. That would be my sun sign. Now going into moon era, as women go to perimenopause to menopause,
yes,
you embrace more of your moon sign. So less into holding on to any identity of your sun sign. You research, discover, become curious, and that would, for me, and as I'm learning, it's new to me too, in my moon sign is Scorpio. And it was like, whoa, that is a completely different era. But it makes sense. This season of my life is requiring a very different person of me to step into.
Right.
And it's just, it's beautiful little gift and a tool, and take it with a grain of salt or whatever you want.
It's gorgeous.
I find it resonates for me from a cultural perspective, and there's just a lot of wisdom and science behind it. It's a science and an art, right? Mm-hmm. And if I'm all open to learning, then let's be open to all cultures and all information.
Completely.
And wisdom from many teachers.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, because a friend was saying, why don't you just make it into one business, right? And it's like the mature feminine work is obviously influencing the more strategic and the more like structural systems, leadership work. Like they are obviously, cross-fertilizing and like, but there's also a space to do this work and a space to do the work. And I am both. I am both. I have both of these things in my body, and both like are wanting to be birthed in this way. And it's like, it's exciting and scary.
And do it on your terms, and there's no right or wrong, and you don't have to do it one way. You don't have to just do it all one, because you're a multifaceted individual.
Yes.
And you get to do it the way you want. And let's celebrate that.
Yes.
And whatever births of that, the twins, and however they grow and it grows, let's celebrate it. Acknowledge and be curious about it.
Yes.
Like I just love hearing this about it. And so I also curious, because I like to know all the different pillars of Annie, I call it.
Oh, yes.
There's where you came from, and the work you're creating, how you're serving. You are also this huge, enormous mother figure to these amazing two giant individuals.
Yeah. What can I say about Quinn and Tayo and my journey with them in this context? I think it's been for so many of us, a catalyst for this phase that we're talking about. All of this, I think, is very much, there is the backdrop of biological motherhood that is, again, all of those archetypes. Again, just to be clear for all the women, you don't ever have to be a biological mother to do that. We're all deserving and able and access to go through these phases of life. But for those of us with children, or our own biological or non-biological, whatever, if we have kids in our lives, we know that they change us.
Oh, yeah.
Forever and every day. And it's just been this dance of, how do I tune into them and tend to myself? And constantly showing up for them in the best way that I can, and in the way that they are asking for and the way that I see that they need, while also tending to myself over and over and over again, repeat day after day after day. And
with
then,
grace and compassion
yeah,
for yourself.
yeah. I mean, it's a huge, and I am raising boys, and I am very like that. So this whole discussion of patriarchy is very alive. Like I have a responsibility in my body. And that was another part of the move, is like, this is very real. These two human beings are very real in terms of what I have access to, responsibility for whatever reason. I birthed these two humans. They are in my life. I'm in their life. Like, this is deeply important to me to show up.
If I may highlight, both of us have children that are interracial. You are married to a Japanese wonderful human. How does that also add to a layer of complexity? Because we don't have enough as women.
Yes.
Let's add another cultural element of, are they getting enough Japanese culture, language? How do you balance?
I mean, this matters so much to me, and it's like, yeah, I love that we're talking about it, and I actually think we should talk about it more off the pod, because I think it really does matter, and I think we are modeling what we're modeling, whether it's conscious or unconscious, right? So, yeah, it's hard.
I find as an interracial, what I don't want to lose is the community from all angles. For them to also be exposed to all the cultures and traditions.
Yes.
And it feels a huge responsibility for myself. If I can, I'm only speaking for myself. I don't have a lot of experience in the Indian community. It's new to me. I was disconnected for a long time, and I'm reigniting that side, re-owning, coming back home.
Yeah.
And my daughter has a lot of questions, and I am literally learning as she is.
Amazing.
She asks me questions, and I was like, I gotta look up that. I gotta ask a family member, and there's language barriers.
Yes.
Between family members. Translation to how do I relay the message.
Part of me, there's a lot of pride in my own choice of like my openness to love in whatever exterior it came. But the actual lived reality of these now 13 years with this person, and navigating going back to Japan with language barriers and massive cultural differences and of course lots of privilege. It's but it is incredibly challenging for all of that work that I have, and that's like, this speaks more to all of that work that I've done, human rights work out in the world. It's easier to do it out in the world than it is to do in your own body and in your family.
Preach.
And so that was part of it also of this move. I'm like, I can't do this work in these fancy institutions if I am not living it inside of my own body every day.
Embody it.
And it is deep, hard, daily work. And it's beautiful, right? Like, I mean, and we're doing our absolute best.
And we get to do it. I remind myself, no, I get to do this. Somebody is not forcing me. It's not a punishment. It's challenging. It's an awakening, and it's unleashing grief. Acknowledging, sitting in it, not trying to fix it, avoid it, numb it.
Yeah.
Because it is unleashing a level of grief that when you do this work, nobody tells you what that's going to look like. Feel like there's not a picture of it.
No.
And it's very different for every individual.
Right.
And sometimes all that's needed is sitting in it. Sitting in the discomfort and not trying to fix it or having the answer, and let it settle to unfold and show you the discovery of what it's trying to come across. And it may never.
Yeah.
I've had to learn that in this season, there's some grief that I just may not know why.
Oh, yeah.
It's not mine. I've felt that. It's my mother's grandmother's, and I don't have words for it. There's rage and anger, grief, where I want to justify it, and there's no justifying it. There's no explaining it away. It's sitting in it until it softens and melts.
Yes.
And that is only comes with time and experience.
And community and practice.
And
So I
community.
was talking about this, actually, and again, I'm really excited that I think we should do for, these workshops because I was kind of like, I did that first one, which was this birthing of coming out for the maiden to mother, and me stepping into like holding space. What is coming through is that the next workshops, like I want to hold space, and I've always wanted to do a rage workshop, and then the grief workshop and the pleasure. So I feel like it's like really doing that together, because we don't know how. We have not been given permission to rage grief, or we're supposed to do it alone in our pillow or whatever. Or if you scream, it's like, oh, you're, but like doing that in community and having real practices and space for that. So
I only learned about rage rooms, and I want to go to a rage room in community.
Yes. Well, yes. There those kinds of things. Right.
But then you can do it in ceremony too.
Yes. We need all the rage in healthy spaces, so we don't take it out on these children or ourselves
or our
partners or our mothers or our community or like all the people that we can
external places and hold it in. It's time to just allowing it to be birthed in a productive, healthy, holistic way.
Right. And normalizing it, that like, of course we feel rage and it's so okay.
Yeah.
It's
a spectrum of the rainbow in our emotions.
Yeah.
Just like sadness, joy, happy, all of the other ones. Grief, rage, anger.
Yeah.
It's not less or more important. It is there.
Yeah. And my rage, I feel really connected to it, because I think it's been a driver in a lot of my advocacy work all of these years, has been that like righteous rage. And so there's part of it that's like, there's the dark rage, right? Like the rage that really is probably not healthy, but there's also like such a beautiful, place and space for rage and like, really letting that, like there's the righteous rage, the good rage. Like how can we not all of us, when we see what's happening in the world, like you would be a non-feeling person if you don't have some rage about
I'm
some
excited
things.
for this. Well, that's through conversation and community you birth the next chapter.
Yes.
The next
which is how it should be done, right?
A new portal to say,
Yes.
Oh, Annie, this has been amazing, and I'm honored, and thank you for coming on.
Oh.
And I want to make sure I get you to share your information. Where can the guests and women that need to reach out to you that you spoke to today, where do they find you? Let's share your
my goodness.
socials or your website. What is it?
It's like coming of age. It's so like the first time you're so,
We have to. There's no service to humanity if you don't allow to
share it. Yes.
Share it.
So redthreadlab.com. There's redthread-lab. There's a dash in there. Redthreadlab.com was taken. So redthread-lab.com, and then Moonbird Collective, moonbirdcollective.com. Yeah, those are the two. So the rites of passage work, which is coaching and actual spaces for those that are of us that are in either on this island now or maybe coming. And then the Red Thread Lab is the strategic consulting and the coaching work that most of that is virtual. But yeah, those are the two spaces check out. Thank you so much,
All
Reet.
of that information will be in the show notes. We'll make sure it's documented. You have access to it. And
Thanks
this woman is like creating such beautiful work. And I'm so grateful to be in your presence and be part of it and create this together.
Yes.
I couldn't do this podcast without every single one of my guests, and I want you and every woman to know your voice is worthy of being heard, your story and your gifts are meant to be shared. So let's together collectively share them.
Reet, I want to thank you. I'm so excited to witness and be a part of this birthing of Reignite with Reet. it's really beautiful to see you step into this phase and to step into your Mother Empress. I can see her over there taking her seat, and it's really a privilege to witness.
Thank you.